Hello and welcome to Who Does Rolls. I am your host Mike B. Here is a coffee. Here I am. Here we are. Post Expo. Oh my goodness, post Expo. I'm exhausted. This was my look at this badge. This would have been my, I think, 7th Expo. I'm going to say 7th. It might be 8th, 9th. I don't know. It's we had a break. We lost a couple of years. You know that happened. They don't count. We're just, in fact, let's pretend they didn't occur, which they basically didn't. So yes, Expo. The best way I think of doing this is I'm going to have to break it down into 3 videos. I'll do a video per day. So this one's going to be Friday's video, which will go into some of the stuff I encountered during the show. As per usual, I'm left with the feeling of, number one, I missed stuff. Even though I'm thinking, I think I've seen everything. I missed stuff, definitely missed stuff. And I'm sure as the days and weeks will go from this point on and people start sharing stuff, I'll be going, where the fuck was that? Which is often my thing. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, very quiet one for me this year in regards to, unbelievably astounding, you will hear this, is I did not buy myself a single game. Nothing. There was going to be no haul photos from me because actually all I did purchase was a harbour game for Isaac, the cooking game, I think it was, where you put things in a pot, which we've played a couple of times and he loves, so that was well worth purchasing. From Goliath Games, who Dow I used to work at Hotline with, now works for them. Dow's back in the industry. I picked up a copy of Don't Stand on the Lava. The Floor is Lava, which he gratefully gifted me with. Again, Isaac has loved that. We've had quite a few plays of that, especially the other night when I was exhausted. So so that's all that. Didn't buy anything. Didn't buy a thing. So we'll go more into that as we go along. Now, I have got a couple of things to look at. Andy Hopwood, God bless his soul, Andy Hopwood. We saw him. I never got a chance to catch up again with Andy today at this show. I saw him Friday. He has given me a copy of what was known as Booty Call, which is this card play game with a pirate theme. This is a pre-production version of it. Very cool, very good. Really enjoyed it at the time. We will be playing more of this, reporting back on this, but very great stuff, Andy Hopwood. He was there with his stand doing Daring Dust Bunnies. Lots of that cool stuff. So that was nice to see him. The only other thing I've actually walked away with is Micro Dojo, which I gave a shout out for in the preview video. Well, here it is, a copy of it. They were giving this away at the stand if you played the game. I'll have a look at that. It's a 2-player game, really cool, small. It looks interesting. They've actually got a boxed version of this now coming out. But the version I've got is, I think, what they were going around demoing to people. Oh, hello. So yes, there we go. Small pieces, very small, very cool, nice thick print quality, a little bag to put it all in, some cards. That's kind of cool concept and some instructions. I'll have a play with that and we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, day one started as we entered the NCP like a particularly forceful entry.
Take the 3rd exit.
This is very confusing, Tony. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I'm going to video this now.
Telling me going back round and roundabout.
The usual fucking slapdash bullshit. There you go. Right. These official Expo videos but commenced. Jamie, say something Expo-ish.
Ball game, Jay!
Yeah, where are we going?
Because it's telling me to go all the way around.
We drive around a fucking roundabout.
We are playing the sat-nav game.
Oh my God.
180 yards.
It's just telling you to keep telling you to turn
Really
left.
well, so.
It's telling you left, that's out.
Not funny spin, I should have timed.
Where are you going now? You're going the wrong way.
You're waiting for the NEC.
Tony, what are you doing? Well, that was a fun trip. Didn't quite get everything I wanted. Bye-bye, NEC. See you next year.
Please take the 5th exit.
What a shower of shit. So yeah, that's how the commencement of the show kind of took us. So anyway, dived around. I saw Vengeance Roll and White on the first day. Had a look at that. Didn't play it. I looked at it. I'm on the fence with the Roll and Whites. It kind of looked entertaining. It might be a faster version of Vengeance, but nothing set me on fire. So kind of the other way. Sniper Elite, where they were Rebellion Unplugged, where they were Sniper Elite, which was on my my list of like, you know what, I may be tempted to buy it. I looked at it. It kind of looks cool. They had, I think it was about 100 quid all in on the stand, and that included all the deluxe stuff. And that was the first sort of thing for me. It's like, oh, a base game is probably perfectly functionally fine. So it's just that whole, not FOMO, but it's all the extra stuff. So I was like, and I looked, it was okay. It looked fun. A lot of people were picking it up. It's got some buzz. It's probably quite a good game. I didn't actually play it, but I talked through the guys at the stand. And I like what it was doing. I've got Fury of Dracula. I've got Letters from Whitechapel. I've got other hidden movement games. So I was kind of fence sitting on that. And I would revisit that as we went for the show. But the general newsflash, didn't actually pick it up. I had a chat with them. Obviously, they're doing the Judge Dredd reprint of the Livingstone game that is coming later in the year, I think, maybe next year. I also talked a bit of Dredd generally with them and 2000 AD licensing, and that they were well, they didn't confirm anything. We won't be getting a reprint of the Road Trooper game, mainly because of the plastic components and stuff. Redoing all that is apparently quite a pain in the arse. So that wouldn't, at the moment, be on the table. They did do the Mega Mania and Block Mania. They didn't actually see it there for sale. I thought they were going to do it. I've got it anyway, but they did a straight reprint of that because it was basically just printing. They've got all the art files, I'm guessing. So there was that. They're going to be doing more of the single RPG sort of supplements. They did the Arcturus Gate, I think it was, but went on Kickstarter. It was a real quick sort of a week-long thing, magazine, comic book style sort of thing that you can tear out of and play an RPG session. So more of that is planned, more of that is coming. If you enjoyed that, I haven't actually played my version of it, but I liked what it did. I liked the aesthetics and kind of the idea behind it. Tinkerbot Games, I popped along there. They obviously had Horticulture. I dropped off my old copy of it with the intent of picking up a newer, shinier, flashier version review copy to do the review. They're looking at autumn this year to launch that. I forgot to go back. I didn't want to take it. It was Friday and there's a lot going on. And they were just setting up and things, so I didn't really want to be grabbing stuff off their stand at that point in time. And I probably forgot to get that. So, oops. It looks great. I loved Horticulture when I played it. It was a great game area, this kind of attending a zombie infested allotment, basically. But yeah, it was a nice mid sort of light heavy level. What they did with Ghost Stool, same sort of thing. Very fun, graphically looked cool. They definitely polished it up. It looks much more purdy than the version I originally had. But yeah, it was generally a very cool game of you kind of not tile laying as such, but sort of a Sudoku puzzle going on aside with this card play on the table. It's good. I will get hold of a copy, I'm sure, and I will do a review of it near the Kickstarter. Games, I kind of went past those guys. They had the new version of Waggle Dance out and Termite Towers. Didn't actually see or play Termite Towers, but Waggle Dance looks like quite a nice production quality of that. Yeah, it looked kind of cool. And that was all I can say really. They had Core Quest to demo, but they didn't have it to sell as far as I'm aware. I presume more of that's on the way. But there you go. They've got some more stuff in the pipeline, I believe they're working on. Then we had a meeting with Board and Dice about a couple of their new releases, forthcoming stuff. So they have Terracotta Army that is coming. I didn't catch the designer's name. This will be coming out at Essen, I believe, with all the wind behind their sails and stuff being good, because of China and the production and printing and all that is a bit of a nightmare at the moment, but that is their intent at the present. I think they were going to try and do Gen Con with it, is what I think I remember they said. However, that's kind of been scuppered by other shit. Anyway, this actually looked interesting. It looked really good fun. It's got a rondel mechanism and this not tile laying, because you're putting down the miniatures, the Terracotta Army miniatures, onto this sort of Sudoku-like board. And its rows and columns will score depending on what miniatures you put down, where they are, and there's like a marker that moves through this scoring throughout the game. Also, the miniatures, when you place them, have differing effects on other things around them, as well as the scores you would get, all that sort of stuff. And there's worker placement on the actual board to do other bits. It looked generally very interesting. It looked kind of cool. It's going to obviously have a bunch of these minis because it's going to represent this Terracotta Army, which would be kind of, it works well thematically with the thing of you building this thing and then being lined up in lines like they really do. So yeah, Essen, I think they've said for that. It does look good. It looks, I mean, I've had 10-minute sort of walk through of it. We didn't play it. We kind of just looked at the demo version they had and talked through them. And it, as I say, it looks kind of cool. I think it's a winner at this point in time. I think we're looking like mid-ish weight, sort of the Origins sort of style rather than the heavier is what they seem to think that was going to be and coming in at. So there's that. The other thing they showed me was Paracord, which is a new kind of, well, it's a new 2-player card game that they're doing. It comes in a box with a bunch of factions in it, all of them with the decks of cards that you basically smash up to make a deck you play with. So it's basically smash up. This one comes in a Cthulhu theme, so there's a bunch of Cthulhu stuff in here. Comes with a couple of player mats. Enough, I think it was 8 decks, enough to make pair them up, different combinations of those. I did ask, it won't allow you to play 4-player out of the box because you won't have certain counters that allow you. Have your cards going down, and you have, each of them comes down with this sort of rondelle type mechanism actually comes down, what rotates as you use them. Some of them activates other powers and does other stuff. It generally looks entertaining and fun and I don't play many 2-player card games because there's usually 4 of us at a time. I loved Android Netrunner. That was great. This looks more of something more something would lend itself more to the Magic the Gathering type style stuff. General takeaway from it was it didn't seem to be doing anything miraculously different. I mean, Smash Up is a great concept that doesn't work as a card game, in my opinion. This at least looked like a decent card game. However, I feel that they should have, in the base box, maybe have mixed it up between Cthulhu and maybe something else to really kind of give that split. Because we had a chat about the box lid. They showed us and said, what do you think of this? And we were kind of like, yeah. Obviously, the intent is to do more of this stuff down the line. But yeah, I think the one thing they missed a trick on is maybe have had Cthulhu crossed with something else, real kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, to kind of to better represent that concept or process of what they do. I think that's a missed trick there. But that's just me. What the fuck do I know? But yeah, we had a look at that. That was cool. But I'd say Terracotta Army definitely looked most interesting at that. They were surprised actually, Board and Dice. Normally have had quite big stands and stuff there previous years, but there really was quite a small little sort of thing. I in fact missed them walking around because it was so small. I was expecting a bigger stand. They didn't seem to be selling any product or anything there either, which was surprising considering all the stuff they brought out recently. There was a bunch of games they brought out recently. I'm really surprised they weren't there trading. Anyway, cool to catch up with them. Cool to see what they've got planned, what's in the wings. We shall see more of that when it comes out, I guess. What else have we got going on? Lucha Wars, so it's kind of Luchador 3rd edition. It looked fun. It's nice graphically done. They polished up some stuff. They streamlined some other bits. It's you throwing dice into a mixing wrestling ring and shit happening. Again, I was going to pick up a review copy of that, and I didn't. Because I didn't have much backspace and they were busy, so I didn't want to be doing that. But maybe down the road I'll grab one of those and have a look at. But Luchador is a lot of fun if you've not played it, and I own or had definitely. I think I own both versions still. I definitely have one of the versions still. It's a good bit of fun. I enjoy it if you like some Dutch chucky stuff. So that's all that. Then I popped over to Hall of Nothing and caught up with Mark Chaplin there, who was with his Where Humans Don't Belong, which is his ode to space opera type intergalactic travel, going out into space, meeting things, horrible things, and dying quickly, I'd imagine. It's a 1 or 2 player game, and he did chat to me. I chatted to him about it, and it will play. It's solo. Predominantly was based as a solo game, but he has tweaked and has stuff in there that if you're playing it 2-player, that there is choices that the 2 players are making. So it feels like they're both involved in the adventure thing. It is basically, if you've played FTL, the app, it's on Steam, I think FTL is, as well as out there. There's kind of a mashup of them. FTL is you flying the ship with a threat coming after you, which is very much prevailing in Where Humans Don't Belong. Is the whole point of the game is you're running away from this thing that you can't stop, you can't destroy. It's coming after you, it's coming after you. With this out there vibe in that you're encountering planets, derelicts, you can go on board, you can scavenge kit and upgrade your ship, go to adventures. There's going to be, I think it's like in a game book. It's got an adventure game book, but it's not actually a game book in it. I think he's using cards to do it, if I remember rightly. The general thing that blew me away with is the sheer amount of content that Mark has already produced for this. There's tiles and tiles and tiles of all these different encounters that you can be having, and the ship you can modify. And obviously it's steeped in sci-fi nerdy references, often most of it from the last couple of decades, well, from the 80s onwards, the 70s and 80s. It looks cool. The art design, the design on it looks really cool, actually. It looks very well, sort of, the design. The art and design. But yeah, from the guides and the tour that Mark had, it was... Obviously, it's a passion project. It's huge and it's growing. He said almost the lockdown helped in some ways because they were able to go back he was able to go back and kind of tweak what he was doing and adding more stuff into it. And he just seemed to be just chunking. There's a lot of stuff in this game from what he just had there. It's just tons of stuff. I have no idea how big this project is going to end up being. I am interested. I don't play many solo or as we know, two-player games. However, I love Mark's stuff. I love what he does. I knew this was a solo anyway. So I just for what it's doing at the moment, looks insane. It's like a mad chemistry going on. There was a lot of stuff in there. So I will continue to watch this one with a weather eye on it because it looks good fun. That's where humans don't belong. We're via Osprey. They had Crescent Moon there and some other bits and pieces. Had a little chat with them. Crescent Moon, I hear, is pretty good. So I might try and maybe see if I can get onto review list pile thing stuff, maybe get a look at some of this stuff. But yeah, kind of looks like some cool stuff that was going on. CGE had a meeting with those lovely peeps. We caught up, we had a look at Starship Captains. That's their new release. Again, I think this is due Essen. I think they were aiming for Gen Con, but I think a lot of the production delays are cocking everything up. So Starship Captains is kind of where humans don't belong, but not. It's a 4-player game. You have your ship, your crew, you're going around, you're going to planets and doing stuff. Same sort of thing as kind of almost a pre-programmed thing where you place your crew miniatures in and they go around the bridge of the ship and kind of trigger at certain times to do other stuff with different colours. And you're going to planets and finding stuff, collecting kind of symbology, collecting things to make things to do stuff. So it's like a much smaller, scaled down version of Where Humans Don't Belong, sort of, with 4 of you flying around. Much more iconography. Basically not the thematics of Where Humans Don't Belong, more of like you can play it in probably an hour and a half. It looks quite entertaining. I feel it might not be that thematic, more mechanical led, but it looks like an interesting puzzle to be messing around with. I don't think there was any PvP combat was the only disappointment, because we did ask, can we have a pop at each other? And I think you're competitively playing, but you can't actually take pops at each other, which seems a missed opportunity if that's the case. Because if you've got your own starship and whizzing around, really, you want to probably pick a fight with someone? I know I do. Maybe that's not the game they're making. Possibly that might be an add-on. So that was it. Obviously, they showed us Galaxy Trucker reprint is out now. There's the expansion coming from that, which is basically going to be a lot of the pick and choose of all the good stuff out of the big box editions into that. I love Galaxy Trucker. They've obviously polished it up and made it smoother, leaner game to play. So I look forward to having a pop of that at some point down the time. Bad news for all you Sanctum fans, because I did ask it. I do like Sanctum, which is kind of like Diablo, the board game, with a bit of a disappointing end game, but it's still quite good fun journey. I did wonder if they had any plans for any expansions or any additional content for that. I did ask about it, and the answer was no. Looks like Sanctum is done, which is a shame, because I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that. Then we snuck off for a cheeky Nando's, as you do, because it was towards the end of the day at that point after we traipsed around and looked at a lot of stuff. We went for cheeky Nando's, and then it was back to a hotel to play some games. So I shall then present to you, I think, a mini review of the 2 games we played that evening. And so with the show done and us Nando'd up, off we went to the hotel lobby to have a jolly good play of some stuff. Tony had already purchased a bunch of stuff at that point in time, because he... self-control issues occasionally. But yeah, he picked up some bits and pieces. He was actually quite well behaved. I've known previous years where he's been completely off the chain. But he had a couple of games. We were going to go and get them to table, give it a go. So we had to get a crack at Cyclades and Dice Theme Park. So Cyclades, it was one that's been long on my list, actually. I was denied numerous times over it. It's from the Matago, the guys that did Kemet. And it's this similar sort of vein set in that sort of I need to say medieval, but it's not. It's the gods, the Jason the Argonaut style stuff. Whatever, those lot. And you are, this area control on a board. The board is actually pre-configures depending on how many players. And you're potting builders. You're looking to be the first person to build 2 of these giant megalopolises. And you do it by either building a bunch of different buildings, and then after you got a set of 4, you get one. You can build for that, or you can do it by getting other stuff. By every round, there's a bidding action, so you essentially bid on the action you're going to play that turn, and each player will bid to try and get one of these godlike powers. And there's a mix of them. Some of them allow you to put troops and move troops on the board. Others allow you to put boats down and move boats on the board. Some give you cards. The cards can be used to reduce the amount of bidding you need to make. Some of the other cards allow you to get Megalopolis by getting a set of 4 of them. So you're doing that. Only one person could bid and win the thing. On the 3-player game, which is what we played at that one, only 2 of these gods are out every round. So it limits, A, what you're going to be doing, and B, there's that kind of random of what am I going to have to aim for. I think Tony won it, but it was very close. I was like a round behind winning it, and I think Jamie was also quite close. It was fun. I enjoyed it. As I say, a bit of area control, a bit of this other stuff going on. I think it will flow and play better at 4 or more. I think it plays up to 5, but generally was quite entertaining and enjoyable. It was nice to see it. I do know that there is. I think it's the Titans expansion that's supposed to really kind of polish the game off, and they did mention it to Tony, so I think he was looking around for it. I don't think he'd actually encountered it. So we played that, but what we also played was Dice Theme Park. I did think for a minute what I was doing. Dice Theme Park, yes. From UK Games. We'd played previously, not then, but Jamie has Dice Theme Hospital, which I've played a couple of times. I found it enjoyable, quite light. So I went into this presuming that we were in a similar sort of light to medium style of dice placement game, but a theme park. Boy, was I wrong. So it is a dice placement game. The idea is you're building a theme park. There's hex tiles you have. You start with a basic theme park board, a bit like the city building thing that is now just poof out of my mind. No, gone. Anyway, so you set up a base board there that you'll do there, and you're adding the hexes of the bits of stuff you're going to buy, all other theme park rides onto there. The game works in such a way, so you end up with. We play everything, by the way. There's bits you can take out. There's advisors and other bits that kind of complicate things, but we had everything in. In a nutshell, every round, what happens is there is 4 monorails, depending on the player count, I think it is, come to the park with dice in them, and they're randomised, put down, but the numbers are specific to what the numbers are on the monorails. And then in turn order, you take one of these monorails, which are essentially your guests to your park. They go into the entrance area of the park. And the idea of the game is you're moving the dice through your park. You do that by activating each hex. You have these cubes you pop down to activate. When you activate it, whatever dice you're assigning to complete that tile, and that will give you stipulations at the bottom of what type of dice you need to use. Sometimes they're wilds, but often it might be a colour. There might be one maybe need to be lower than the other, or match, or something else. So you activate, the dice match. The dice that you've matched, how many you've used in that, if it's 1 dice or if some of them are 2 or 3, all regress down a number, and then you have to move one of them to a differing location. So these things kind of hop around the board. If any of them ever come down to 1, they basically leave the park, though there is ways of manipulating that, and some different skills and powers will allow you to change that. You have mascots that you can buy, which will allow you to put down and move things around, move the dice around without losing pips off of them. You've got other maps you can use, which you can buy them, and again, you can use them to have free movement of your things. So it's kind of this game, once you get into it, of moving the dice around the park, activating them, having to get them at the right numbers at certain times to be able to trigger the actual thing to score the points off of it. You get income from that as well. And what you ideally want to do is move the dice in the right colours and get them in the right spots and activate them and get the good stuff all as much as you can in the round. Early doors, initially it was like a bit of a rules hump to go, oh, there's a lot going on here, and we'd made it more complicated by adding bits in that we added. But Yeah, I kind of got it. By the second round two, I really got into it. Every round, there's another thing I didn't mention, is you get a set of cards. Everyone starts with a set of, I can say 8 cards. They'll kind of match. You'll play one of these every round. And that stipulates what, actually you play 2 of them. You play them every round and it stipulates what abilities you're going to be getting and what else you can extra do. Some of them allow you to move stuff for free. Some of them allow you to activate areas twice more. Some give you discounts for certain rounds. But once you've played the 2, at the end of the round, you pass the 2 you've played to the next player along. So that hand you've got and what you're playing is adapting and changing as you go. So it's kind of also a strategy there is holding on to the cards you're maybe going to want later, and hoping you get maybe the cards that you're also going to want later into your hand. It's a nice, I like that mechanism. It's kind of cool. It's kind of not drafting as such, because it's kind of very slow drafting because you're sitting in and then you're getting stuff back. But I like that. It's a tactical edge, and it was pretty cool to have that and how they worked. And if you get lucky and someone hands you the right thing at the right time, you can play it power twice. Very useful, I found, in getting what I was doing. So that's kind of cool. All of that's, it's pretty cool. The board and the theme park and the moving of the dice and how it all works took a little while to grok, and it was fine once we did get it. But cool, as you get more bits down in your park, that really starts to become whoa, what am I doing? Where am I moving stuff? How's the best to make use of all this? And getting that, anyone min-maxing that, is, you could see them having veins popping on their head. Tony nearly had a seizure playing this one. Yes. But I really quite enjoyed what it was doing. What really kind of floored me and took me, sideswiped me and sucker punched me, was I expected this medium light style of game, which it wasn't. This is definitely the medium, almost later rounds of the thing, almost sort of heavier thing. And I think the only issue with that, is it kind of looks like this. If you look at the box, it's like bright, garish and colourful. It looks like a fun, light game. And it is not that. It is, well, it's a fun game, but it's not light. So be aware of that, what you get into. The teach wasn't too bad on it, and I definitely think if you played it without the extra bits we played with, it would be even smoother. But on the whole, coming away from that, I was very pleasantly surprised by it. I did enjoy it. It was doing some pretty cool stuff. A lot of interesting little mechanisms all working against each other. I love the dice placement ideas. Anyway, it's kind of cool. How that all works does work really well. And you get different tiers of the theme park bits come in. And I know there was a bunch of other mini expansions, which I guess was on the Kickstarter. I presume you can pick them up at a certain point later on down the line at retail. But yeah, that was really cool. Dice Theme Park from UK Games. I do recommend it if any of that sounds interesting. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So that was day 1 of the show, really. I think that was it. We probably played some other bits and pieces, but that was it. It was kind of a blur. Because as been one for a few years, I was a bit out of practice, but even though it looked like there wasn't much, there was a lot there. As will come to light as we go through the next couple of days of these videos, to see just how incapable I am of doing a proper job and keeping an eye on everything that's going on. But we'll see how that pans out. So there you go. That is day 1 of the UK Games Expo. Lovely, wasn't it? That's what we did. For the time being, I'm going to wish you adieu and farewell, because stuff, I need to give the dog another hug. He missed me. Bless him, his little furry face, he needs a hug. And I will catch up again very soon with day 2 of the UK Games Expo and the various misadventures of that. See you soon. Have fun. Enjoy gaming.